Big story out of college football. Georgia will be without starting quarterback Carson Beck for the remainder of the season. The Dogs are slated to play the winner of Notre Dame and Indiana in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. Beck injured his UCL and his right elbow during the SEC championship game earlier this month. So backup quarterback Gunnar Stockton will take over as the starter. He played the second half of the SEC title game and will make his first collegiate start in the CFP quarterfinals. All right, welcome in former Louisiana running back Emory Hunt and Sportsline senior analyst Larry Hartstein. Emory, look, we saw what Gunnar Stockton could do in the SEC championship game. What impact does this have for Georgia going forward as they get ready to play in the quarterfinals?
Well, your playbook is not as expanded as it is with a guy that has started this amount of games and played in this level of games over the course of his career in Carson Beck. Now, what we saw from Gunnar Stockton is his ability to run with his legs, and he was 12 of 16, great, but 71 yards, 4.4 yards an attempt, and an interception. So, and the interception was a bad one too. So you lose a lot with Carson Beck. You lose the experience. You lose a guy that that opened up your passing game. But where Gunnar Stockton, you may create some things on the ground with his legs, which then opens up some things on the ground for your running backs to run the football. But this is a big loss, in my opinion, for Georgia.
Yeah, it's a huge loss for Georgia, but we saw Gunnar Stockton come in and fill in admirably. He wasn't perfect, but he did enough for them to win the game. You got Trevor Etienne back. You have the youngster in Nate Frazier, the freshman, running the football. And then you've got enough skill position players around Gunnar Stockton to still make this a formidable team. Their odds have not changed to win the national championship, still behind Oregon and Texas at plus 500. But Larry, I want to play the hypothetical here, okay? If they face Indiana, Georgia is a 6.5-point favorite. If they face Notre Dame, they are a 1.5-point dog. Take us through both matchups here in terms of the results. So if they're facing Indiana, would you be laying the 6.5, and are you taking the 1.5 if they're facing Notre Dame?
Yeah, I would be on Georgia in both cases because,
really?
Yeah, I think Gunnar Stockton brought an element to the Georgia Bulldogs with leading them to a comeback win that we don't see from Carson Beck. And no offense to him, he's a great, very polished quarterback. But when you run over a Texas defender and you get that entire sideline, energized, and then in overtime you hold on to a ball on one of the most vicious hits anyone has ever seen, you earn a lot of trust. And this is a guy who has a very storied high school career, and I think that experience of having gotten in a game, having led your team to a comeback win over Texas in the SEC title game is going to carry them through. And this was expected. I think it's not a shock that Carson Beck won't play in this game, so I think the team has been preparing this way all along.
Feels like a lot what we saw from Stetson Bennett, right, in his story, how he came in and had the team galvanized and rallied around him and had that team have success. We also saw it from our colleague in Cardell Jones.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for
12 games. Got the
I was
game.
about to bring it up, but you did it for me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So I was going to take you there.
No, but I'm already here.
I love it.
So here's the thing: when you have this opportunity, you're playing with house money. If you're Gunnar Stockton, hey, I got the team rallied around me. That's a great point, bringing up that hit, because that was vicious. He took that, ate that, and then got them down in position to go score the winning touchdown. So yes, he has the vibes, he has the momentum, he has the mojo. But at some point, reality will set in and say, if they're facing Indiana, Indiana feels like they'll have a puncher's chance because of their passing game. But if they face Notre Dame with Gunnar Stockton, I think Notre Dame wins that one outright.
All right, so Larry, you said you're back in Georgia in either scenario if they face Indiana or Notre Dame. In terms of the national championship, have your feelings changed with the quarterback change?
I think there's a little value on them because they're getting better odds than they should, and I also like their path to the championship game. You talked about the pieces around him. He's not going to have to do it himself. There's a very experienced team around him, a great coaching staff, and I just like the mojo. And like Emory said, we've seen this story before from Georgia.
Yeah, but and here's the thing, it's a fun story. It's great. It's going to make for a great, time in Athens, up until they hit the field against Notre Dame. Then it's all she wrote. They're not winning the national championship. They're losing to Notre Dame if they get past, whether it's Indiana, if they play Notre Dame, it's a wrap because Notre Dame's defense is too strong, and they'll make him be a one-dimensional player, and they'll force him to make those consistent throws. Now, he has a lot of, time to get ready, get acclimated, to look a lot better than he did in that SEC championship game. But at the end of the day, I think they don't win the national championship this year because Notre Dame is standing right there. Because also, that's my pick to win a national championship.
Oh, there we go. So that's why. Notre Dame's winning it all, according to you.
Right.
Who do you have winning it all?
I'm going with Georgia.
Okay, there you go. Larry Hartstein still picking Georgia to win the national championship. Carson Beck out for the CFP quarterfinal. They will face the winner of Notre Dame and Indiana. So Larry likes Georgia. He still believes in the Dogs. Again, Georgia will be without starting quarterback Carson Beck for the remainder of the season. Georgia looking to win its third natty in the past 4 seasons. Emory Hunt likes Notre Dame, plus 700. The Fighting Irish haven't won a national championship since 1988. Oregon, the favorite, a slight favorite over Texas. The Ducks looking to win their first national championship in school history.